Okay.
So I'm here today with Jessie Sansone, the father that was wrongly arrested, went to school, and I'll let him explain it. Jesse?
Hi.
So tell
Yeah.
everybody out there what you did, what happened.
Yeah. So basically, well, it was a regular day for me. I dropped my daughter off in the morning to school like I normally do in her lineup. She was in junior kindergarten. That morning, actually, I had a more than regular conversation with her teacher. Hi and bye. Basically, talk a little bit about the weather and about how her husband was feeling. Just a brief conversation with her actual teacher. Went back home, did my regular thing with the family, with my wife, and later on that evening, around 3 o'clock regular time, I normally pick up the kids back from school. I was waiting in the lineup with all the other parents, like we normally do, for our kids to come out, and all the kids came out except for my daughter. She never came out, and I saw the principal. He actually came out. He waited by the door, and he basically sort of gestured for me to follow him. And so I followed him back into the school. We walked through the school. He told me that there's something he needs to talk with me about. He told me just before we were sort of entering the office, he said, just don't be alarmed. Whatever you do, just don't get shocked, right? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which was hanging up at me. All right, so there I'm walking behind him.
You're worried about your daughter at this point. Don't be shocked.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking, okay, my kids, they did something today at school. Maybe one of them got into a fight at school or something happened. This is the norm, right? That's what normally happens. But, so yeah, I'm walking behind the principal. He opens up his door, and I'm walking right behind him, and then there's 3 officers in the principal's room. The door shuts behind me. None of my kids are in the office. One of the officers grabbed me by my arm and said, "Jesse, you're under arrest for possession of a firearm."
So did you have a firearm on you?
No.
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 Were you
I never had a firearm ever on me.
and not to get stereotyping here, were you all thugged out, or
I'm just a regular day walking to pick up my kids from school, and so I'm in the office here with the 3 officers. The principal sort of slips out the back door, and so there's another door in the office as well too. And so then the police officers, they continue to ask me questions about my description, my height, if I have any tattoos, and I'm asking them, what is this about? What is this about? I said, where's my children? They kept on telling me that, we can't say anything right now. We can't tell you anything right now. And when I kept asking questions, like, did my children get into a fight? Is my sons get into a fight or something?
Did they cuff you?
Said, I'm sorry?
Were you cuffed at that point?
Yes, they cuffed me right away. Right after, as they said that you're under arrest for possession of a firearm, they arrested me, and then I sat down on the chair in the office, handcuffed, and then he was like giving me these questions, and I was trying to get these answers from him. And when I kept asking him again about where my kids are, this has to do with the fight that my sons did, he said, I advise you not to say anything else for your own sake. And then I was asking more questions because he says possession of a firearm. And so I was saying, what firearm? Did somebody say I have a firearm?
So what tipped them off about a firearm? What was it exactly that made it that you were in possession of a firearm?
At that point, I had no idea.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I never. Right. And so, so basically, from there, they asked me to get up, and they're going to escort me out the school into the police station, or into the police car waiting. And I asked them if they could please wait a couple more minutes, because I know at that point the school was flooded with kids after school. The bell just rang. Kids are going up and down the school. I did not want to walk through the school.
You don't want your kids to be teased about their criminal dad being taken out of school.
We lived right down the street from the school. We lived in that neighborhood for 5 years at the time. We know everyone in the school. I know everyone from all the teachers to even the crossing guard. And so they waited a couple minutes. Still, the school was still flooded with kids. Nevertheless, it's after school, right?
Yeah.
So they escorted me out into the back of the police car. They had to do some more paperwork, I guess. I was sitting in the back of the cruiser for about 10 minutes for them to come, and I was literally hiding my face in the back of the cruiser because there's a lot of curious children on the school property, on the school grounds. They're trying to get closer to the car and peek in and see who's in the back of the car. It was so embarrassing. And so then finally the officers, they ended up driving me to the police station where they processed me at the front with, I guess, the sergeant. Where then I was stripped, where then I was asked actually first if you know why you're being charged, and I said no, I don't know why I'm being charged still. She said being charged with possession of a firearm, and she still couldn't tell me anything else. Then they had me strip searched in a cell. I was strip searched, and then I was escorted to another cell where I waited about 5 or 6 hours. Until an officer came and got me in to escort me back into another room where I met a detective. Where then the detective told me at that point that they weren't going to charge me and that they were going to release me, and that this was all over a drawing that my daughter did at the school.
A drawing?
A drawing that she did at the school.
Is she like a great artist? Just curious, right? Because I mean, like, what grade are we talking here?
In kindergarten at the time, I was helping her draw hearts.
Okay. So she's kindergarten. She drew a gun, supposedly, right?
Yep.
Or is there a picture?
Actually, after what ended up coming out, what I found out soon after is that there was no picture, because obviously I wanted to see this picture myself. There was no picture. It was done on a blackboard, on an erasable board, and the teacher or nobody that was around with a phone snapped a picture of it, but the teacher had erased it, and nobody saw this picture.
Well, I could see concerns about guns and whatnot, but like. They could, a child could have seen a gun from any point, and you'd think they'd ask you to come into the office and talk about the drawing before the actual initial arrest,
Absolutely.
Right?
Now, this is what I was. Now, that was happening with me at that time. At the same time, while I was at about the time when I was sitting in the principal's office with the 3 police officers, there was an officer knocking at my door, at my house door. Where my wife answered, they said that you have to come with us to the police station. Your husband's been charged with possession of a firearm. My wife obviously was shocked. She said, "You must have a big problem here.
Right?
There must have been a mistake." Right? Nevertheless, they told my wife she had to leave the house right now, and that her children at that time was at the Children's Aid office being interviewed right now, and that they would have to go to the Children's Aid office.
So your children were like taken by Children's Aid
from the school. Yeah. So at the time when I was at the office, in the principal's office with the 2 police officers, at that time my children that were at the school, attending the school, were already taken out of the school and brought to the Children's Aid office.
Okay, can we pause for a sec? So do you have a good relationship with the school? Like, what do you do for a living?
I worked at the same job for last 7 years as a counselor.
A counselor?
Yeah, like a life issues counselor.
That's a good job.
And the principal at the school knows that, and knows of my what I do for a career. I actually spend a lot of time at the school because I know a lot of the kids that go to that school. Like I said, we live close by, and so I know a lot of the kids in the neighborhood. And there's lots of times when the kids started causing trouble at the school during recess or whatnot. And I was encouraged by the teachers if I could go there during recess hours and put on the orange vest and be on the school property to sort of be like a monitor. And I was doing that for a while. And that led to actually the principal asking me one day maybe if I could consider being a TA, or teacher's assistant at the school.
Yeah.
And yeah, so as far as our relationship goes with the school, I thought it was really good.
So
Yeah.
now back to the point where your children are with child services and you're in cuffs and
Yep.
at the
So I'm
police
in.
station.
Yes. Yeah. So the officers were at the door. Told my wife that they had to come with her because the kids were at the children's aid office. Well, actually, they said that the children were at the police station at first, and so my wife left the house. At the time, my wife was pregnant with our fifth child.
Right on. I got
Um,
6.
yeah, we had our fourth. My wife had our fourth, who was just still a little one in the stroller. And so my wife called her mom to come down and watch the little one while she could go with the police officers to the station to see the kids. So when she and apparently she couldn't lock the door. That was something else that was pretty interesting as well too. My wife couldn't even lock the door. She wanted to lock the door before they left. The officers told her that the door had to stay open, that they were going to go through the house and do what they had to do. And so my wife went to the police station. She waited there for a little bit to find out that the children weren't there. They were actually at the children's aid office. And so then my wife went with the police officer to the children's aid office where she would then have to wait in the waiting room while they interviewed the children, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Like in the case of a real gun, that process I can completely agree with, right?
mm-hmm.
But
Oh,
on a
in the
drawing,
mm-hmm.
yeah, on a drawing, I find it a little over the top.
Yep.
Like
Yeah,
I can't even
exactly.
imagine how you felt. Like I can't even imagine how you felt.
No, so the children's aid at the office, I guess they interviewed all the children, all three of the children separately, and after that they found things were fine. My wife took the children back to our house, and they waited for me to be released, and I was then released, like I explained to you, after the detective told me what this was all over. It was actually over the drawing. Then they released me. At that time, it was probably about, I'd say, maybe 9 o'clock at night. It was getting dark.
And what you said earlier, the drawing disappeared.
There was no drawing. There was no picture. There's no evidence of this drawing. There's no picture ever taken of this drawing. That drawing doesn't exist to today. There's no drawing of it. So
did you get your daughter to try drawing what she had drawn in class for you, just to see?
no, I didn't. Like immediately the moment I came back from the police station, and the moment like I actually saw the kids, the first thing my daughter said to me when she came up to me, she's like, "Daddy, are you mad at me?" She thought I was
Yeah.
mad at her.
Yeah. It's a lot of stress
Right?
to go through for a kid, you know?
Yeah, like she was pretty shut. And I guess the questions she told me about the questions the children's aid were asking them, it was pretty rough, right?
Yep.
They told me. I didn't have to ask them. The kids told me, right? They
Yeah.
said, that they're asking me what kind of faces you make when you're mad. Do you scream? What kind of words you say when you scream? Does daddy have any hiding places? Where does he hide any things? Does he have any secret spots?
Right?
Yeah, just things like that. That I guess bothered my children.
Yeah. Well, so has there been any drawbacks since then? Have your kids been teased, bullied, or have you had any drawbacks? You said you used to live in that area. Have you moved out of that area?
Yeah, actually, yeah, we moved out of the area after that. It wasn't. I'm not gonna. It's not because of the situation of what happened. I mean, we dealt with that. It took a while to get over it. But I will say, about probably 2 months, maybe about 5 months actually, about 5 months after that incident happened, I was actually very, very close to moving out of the city, Kitchener, Ontario. I put first and last month's rent down on a place. I was going to move to Hamilton. I had nothing. I had no idea about anything about Hamilton. But I felt that I don't know. I felt that there was such an imprint made on our family in this city in a negative way.
Well, you're a counselor. You're being arrested
Yeah.
at a school. You know,
Yep.
your kids are shocked about it. You know, daddy's superhero,
Mhm.
mommy's superhero. Well, now the doubt is there, and the doubt wasn't placed by you. You know, and
It's true.
you know, and that's friends and everything teasing afterwards, like, you know, throwing up gang signs.
Yeah.
Anything, you know, not to joke, and I'm,
No.
you know, but you know, I can just when I 10 years ago I got arrested for bank robbery. All right,
Okay.
and just it's not the same. I had just been pulling out of the alley with my roofing crew at the same time as the bank robbery's going, and we were held for 9 hours and then released because it was obvious it wasn't us, right?
Wow.
But you know, it didn't
Wow.
involve my kids. It didn't involve any of that,
Yeah.
and that was off an eyewitness watching our vehicle
Mhm.
pull out of the alley, compared to, you know, a children's drawing that doesn't exist anymore, or did it, right? You know,
Mhm.
that's the question here. You know, did you learn any rights or anything you could do past that? Like, if anybody, could you give any recommendations to anybody in a situation like that?
Um, you know what? You just got to keep your head up, and you know what? Like a good saying, like, it really started making sense to me a lot is, family is where the home is. It makes so much sense,
Time well
Family is
spent.
where the family is where the home is. Um, once you start, you can't dwell on negative thoughts all the time. You keep dwelling on negative thoughts, um, it just you won't progress anywhere. You'll be stuck in the same place.
Yeah.
You know what? In my situation, I had a lot of support. I did have a lot of support. I had a lot of news coverage. I had a lot of people supporting, and so that made me feel really good. But there's other people out there that don't have that. They're
Yeah.
stuck in a situation where only they know they're innocent, and they may be everybody else may be talking negative about them. They may not have any support, right? And if they are truly innocent, then they have to just keep their head up. And sometimes family, that's where family comes in. You know what I mean? Family is the anchor. You know what I mean? When tough waters like that happen, when things like that happen, that's family's big,
So
right?
you told me that your wife runs a YouTube channel. I'm just going to give you a plug here, and
Okay.
let you talk about your YouTube channel so people could get a vibe of your life, because it's out there. My life's out
Sure.
there on YouTube through Norm Average as well, right? But
Okay.
you want to tell us about your YouTube channel, and
Yeah, sure.
how cool your wife is for you know.
Yeah. So my wife, she started, I guess you would call it vlogging. She's been doing this for a long time now. I don't even think she even knew it was called vlogging. But she had this YouTube channel out where she was just putting out all of our family footage. She would catch me with the children, catch us doing just fun things. She would be pranking the kids, doing silly challenges, things like that. And so she's putting all these videos on YouTube. And I just started watching some of the comments come in, and the comments were just beautiful comments. People that love to see the family, and I just realized, you know what, this would be an amazing update for anybody who ever supported our story and supported our case by leaving comments, even, or anybody who was still wondering what happened with the family and where we're at right now. I just think it would be a great update for that. So yeah, the YouTube channel is called Young and the Reckless.
Young and the
That,
Reckless.
yep, and I have links all over my Facebook page as well too for that under just Jessie Sansone.
Okay, Jessie Sansone. I'm just going to repeat it so everybody hears, just in case, right?
Okay.
Young and the Reckless, Jessie Sansone. And you want to spell that out for them, just in case? It's up in the top link, actually, right there, if you want anybody that
Okay.
wants to
Yep.
visit his YouTube.
Jessie is with the IE, JESSIESANSONE, Sansone, and the Young and the Reckless, and we have the Facebook fan page as well too. You could come and see all the videos over there as well too.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's Jessie Sansone, Young and the Restless, the father that was wrongly accused of having a gun, possession of a gun, because his daughter drew a picture of a gun at school. Thanks a lot for having coming out and talking with us at the Canadian Movement. I really, really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate that too.